Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? This is Derek with Black Knights. Give me 1 second, right quick. I'm going to try to add Miss Orissa Michelle in. There she is. Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? I'm trying to figure out how to add her, add everybody in, and add in the comments. Post a comment. There we go. Here we go. I'm going to add this right down here. Here we go. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. All right, Miss Orissa, I am sending you an invite. I'm sending you the link now. And the link's down at the bottom. Just click that link, join right on in, and come on in. And whoever else wants to join that link, join the live and join the conversation, click that link back down there where it says Black Knights Talk Podcast, and you'll see the StreamYard link. I just learned about this, so guys, give me a minute. I know I'm late. I'm late. Hello, Arissa. Can you hear me? Everybody can hear me good? Look, hit down in the comments. Let me know you can hear me, and we'll get ready to get going because I know everybody got to get up and go to work and all that good stuff. Hey, Arissa.
Oh,
How you
hello. How are
doing?
you?
How you doing?
I'm fine. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, great, great.
Good,
So
good.
I got a little late start today.
That's all right.
Hey, they say
Yeah.
when you try to do good, the devil always working on.
Oh, yeah. I totally understand. I feel you on that.
So I'm
Yeah.
gonna get started. Even though I know some of my folks here, I'm just gonna check the Facebook link, and I'm
Okay.
gonna see if they're on the face. Everybody's on the link there and see how it's working there. Uh, Matter of fact, let's see here. Let's go to Facebook and let's see what happens.
Hmm.
All right, so let me make sure. All right, we're
Okay.
live on Facebook. Yeah, there we go. All right, there we go. All right, so Arissa, welcome to Black Knights Talk Podcast. Earlier today, I'm just gonna go right into it because I know you don't got much time and I know you got to get to bed. Earlier today, I did a joke on Facebook about the Enfamil shortage, and
Hmm.
so I had said I made a reference to. I said, well, they ain't got no Enfamil no more. I said, what happened? Did breast stop working or did breast go on strike?
Uh-huh.
Man, the amount of ladies that came in and was going to educate me
Hmm.
on what I didn't know, they came in the droves and they started telling me like, look, um, there's a reason why certain women can't breastfeed. And so they
Right.
were telling me about medical issues and, uh, dry, what is it? What is it? Dry, okay, dry ducts, I guess.
Hmm.
And so I didn't know anything about it. And I mean, they went off. They was like, yo, we're going to tell you, we're going to educate you a little bit. And so I was happy that the young ladies kind of came in and educated me instead of attacking. Because I'm like, man, this cancel culture, you say the wrong thing, but they'll cancel
Yes, they will.
you. So what I
Yeah.
told everybody is I said, how can men help? And so I like to have conversations where we can kind of get together as a community, talk about things, and see what we can do to help each other fix a problem out there. And
Mm-hmm.
so, as far as I see it, I was just telling my boy the other day, I was like, yo, um, there are meat shortages too. They had these meat plants. Some of the meat plants were burning down, and like 16 this year alone burnt down. And I'm like, okay, where's all the meat going? And so I started thinking about the Enfamil when the lady started addressing the Enfamil shortage. And so
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, this has got to be a great conversation. So instead, since they were nice enough to educate me, I thought we'd do a live stream and actually allow just come on stories about their issues with
Mm-hmm.
the subject matter, and to be able to kind of give us some insight. So for the ladies and folks out there in Wonderland, if you can click on the YouTube and join the live link stream here, there it's in the comments. If you want to get on and tell your story or tell us a brief story about your situation, go to the comments. Meanwhile, Miss Arissa, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, um, I am a Michigan-born Midwest woman. Currently live in
Okay.
Atlanta. Yeah,
What part
currently
of
living
Michigan?
in Scale. I'm from Lansing. Um,
I lived in Berrien Springs.
okay, small world. I am a divorced mother. I have four sons. Had a, I had I had a whole bunch of babies. I had four boys by the time I was 21, married and everything. I did it all. Um, but they're all adults now. So have two daughter-in-laws. One is engaged. One of my other sons is engaged. So two grandbabies. Um, I worked as a cosmetologist for 25 years. I retired in 2016. I'm currently working on my doctorate degree, small business
Yo,
management, entrepreneurship. Yeah, I just got in the insurance industry, so I'm a life and health insurance agent now. But I'm working on my property and casualty insurance as we speak. So just got a lot of little stuff going on here, and yeah, my oldest son, he is. I know you talked about the milk and all that. My oldest son, he's a physician assistant in Detroit.
hey, there you
My
go.
yeah, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, and so his wife, she did the breastfeeding thing, so I know about the struggles of it. You know, it's stress can slow down your milk production as well too. So it's a few things
Okay.
as to why women can't produce milk and stuff. So yeah, that's the crazy part.
Yeah, I had no idea about this being an issue, and I was looking on the news about it today, and they were
Mhm.
saying that only 3 to 4 corporations actually
Mhm.
create milk for babies. I'm like, 3 to 4? This is America. How y'all not creating this for babies with multiple companies?
Yeah,
And we should never have a shortage of milk for babies because babies gotta live.
yeah.
And so what I was doing, I was trying to do a little research before I got into the subject matter. And real quick, for the new people that's coming in, guys, if you want to join the stream, I left it in the comments. And let me make sure just to go to Facebook. I know it's going to double talk, so let me make sure I can drop that in there for everybody that goes in, so they can join the stream. All right, there we go. I left it in the comments there on Facebook so that everybody can join in and share
Okay.
their story. So yeah, I looked on the news today and I was like, oh wow, y'all only got 3 or 4 companies that are doing this, and most of this problem started when they shut the country down. And
Okay.
so I was like, yeah, this is where this is streamed from. When COVID happened and they shut the country down, there was nobody to make anything because
Wow.
nobody's going to work. And so
Okay.
nobody was on the clock on it. And Joe Biden decided he
Mm-hmm.
just wasn't going to do nothing until now. So
Mm,
now today I saw a news article where today he finally said that he's going to ramp up and get more formula from other countries. to bring into the United States so that we can fix this problem. But however, there should never be a problem like that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get I just want some of the young ladies and yourself to kind of go over, whether you did feed um, through through natural breastfeeding, or did you feed just through Enfamil and formula?
I started out, which was 35 years ago. I tried with my oldest son because I was just 15 when I was still having babies young. But I tried breastfeeding with my oldest son, but I couldn't take that suction. So the sucking on their breasts was just too much for me. So I ended up
Mm.
I all my kids Similac. That was the well known milk at the time was a
Okay.
Similac. So yeah, but of course it's always better to naturally breastfeed your baby. There's they end up being smarter. Even if you breastfeed for 6 months, they say it's always better to at least start out breastfeeding for the first few months. But yeah, I didn't really do the breastfeeding, and it's a lot of work, especially because I was a housewife for a little while, but then I had to go to work, and
Okay.
it would have much trying to breastfeed and pump your breasts and feed babies and stuff. But I have girlfriends that had kids older, like late 30s and 40, had their kids, and they whipped that thing out and just like, I'm feeding my baby, you know.
Hey,
Right.
but I wondered what happened to breastfeeding because I don't see it anymore at all. And one of the ladies said in the comments that a lot of times women are shamed for breastfeeding, and I don't see nothing wrong with a woman breastfeeding.
They are.
For me, I'm always like, cater to her. If she's got a breastfeed, let her breastfeed. Even in restaurants, I saw a post where one young lady said somebody tried to shame her about breastfeeding. I was like, what kind of crap is that? The baby got to eat. That's how we got here.
Yeah, and that's a breast. Usually it's some overly sensitive person that it's a breast. They're breastfeeding their baby. My girlfriends know. I mean, whip that thing out. I don't care. Feed your baby. I have
Yeah,
no all. It's never really discussed me because I know it's feeding. They're feeding their baby, but we're in a sensitive society now. Hello, think you dropped off.
oh, my bad, my bad, my bad. Technical difficulties, my bad.
I'm like over here talking to myself. But yeah, so it's a natural thing. Most mothers put a blanket over their bodies anyway. It's not like you really, really looking at, seeing a woman breast area, but she's breastfeeding her baby. We should normalize it. Um, and teach the younger kids, because I know some younger kids will probably see it and maybe like, oh my God, it's the worst thing. But we just really just got to educate everybody on breastfeeding. It's the
Yeah.
best thing. I had done it, but I did
Even
it.
boys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's good.
So
My daughter said,
let me ask you a question. For the
mm-hmm,
men out there that don't know anything about this, and I'm sure there's husbands out there, boyfriends out there
mm-hmm,
whose girlfriends or wives are about to have children,
mm-hmm.
what can guys do? What can guys do to help? So, say for instance, she's having trouble and she's going through this. How can guys help make it a lot easier for their wives or their girlfriends to go through this situation after they have children, and to make it a little bit more smoother for the woman to be able to relax? What can we do to help?
I mean, be honest with you, I know with my daughter-in-law who breastfed, stress. Don't be stressing her out because it's gonna slow her milk production down. But it's
Oh wow!
I think yeah, it can stress can help. It will slow down your milk production too. Yeah. So hopefully she ain't stressed or postpartum, things like that as well. Um I mean, I think it's good when mothers are at home with the child to breastfeed, because if the woman have to work and have to breastfeed that baby, it's gonna be hard. It's almost nothing that a man can do just outside keeping her stress level down. Because she still has to pump. I mean, be honest with you, if he could take on a second job or something and let her really just focus on breastfeeding the baby, because it's a lot of work. I hear mothers all the time. it's just stressful. You're at work and then your breast filled up and they gotta go, you know, leave work or go into whatever the break room and pump their breast. It's a process, and I just and because it's be honest with you, women are really meant to really be at home with the kid at least for the first year, so that they
Yeah,
can go and breastfeed their baby. So luckily, my daughter-in-law had the pleasure where she could, you know, be at home. My son makes pretty good money as a physician assistant. So, but yeah, if the woman can stay at home for like 6 months, that'll help if she can breastfeed her baby. So, it's something else. It's a beautiful experience. Kids would be smarter. I
yeah.
definitely wish I had.
Hey, look, one of my buddies told me that his mother breastfed him till he was 4 years old. And I
Wow.
was like, wow, your mom breastfed you to 4 years old? And he was like, yeah, but however, I will say this guy is extremely smart.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he is a very intelligent guy. He actually lives off the grid. And so he was like, man, really a mother's supposed to continue feeding them until the ducks dry or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
so, but one of my friends was like, that mess hurts. And so I don't think guys really know how women feel at during that process because we don't have no breasts. So all we're looking
Right.
at like you just stick it in their mouth. And
Mm-hmm.
so try to explain that process to men out there that don't know that because in our heads, all it is put the baby on your breast. Okay, you can explain that process about latching on and problems with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's yeah, because sometimes a baby won't feed. What if I mean, I know for my grandsons, sometimes they don't feed, and that's a struggle, especially if the mother has all this milk in her breast and that baby won't eat for whatever reason. That's stressful on the mother. So I just I saw through my daughter-in-law that breastfed both of my grandsons. So she breastfed them for about 6 months for my oldest grandson, who's 7, and my youngest grandson, I don't think she lasted 6 months, maybe close to 6 months, because her breast was, she couldn't really produce milk as much. So, yeah, that's a real thing. But I mean, the only thing you could do is just be supportive of her. Maybe if she pumped the milk, maybe you offer to feed the baby, because you know,
Okay.
uh, something like that. Just try to be supportive as possible. If she could stay at home for 6 months to a year, I would say that'll make the process easier too. Because it is, these working moms, they breastfeeding their babies, and that's even more stress. They got stress on their job, and God knows that they're stressed on their job. That could make their milk production slow down too. Any stress will mess a woman up with her body when she's going through the breastfeeding process. So
And I
I
would
don't
think
know.
that would be a lot more stressful on single mothers out there who are
Mm,
are going through this even now because they're by themselves and they can't you can't go to the store and find this readily easy now. One of my friends on Facebook, she was telling me that a lot of mothers are going and buying all this stuff in bulk and taking it home and not allowing other mothers to be able to come in the store and pick those things up. And so I was like, yo, so what can we do to, talk about these things? So even in our local communities, what
mm,
can we do in case this happens again? Another young lady was telling me something about using goat milk. And she's like, goat
yeah.
milk works too. I was like, I didn't know that.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
Goat
so
milk will work.
I'm learning myself.
Oh yeah, goat milk is pretty good though. Goat
I,
milk,
I've
goat
never
cheese.
actually I've never tried it. I've eaten it, but I've eaten
Yeah,
goats, but I've never tried the milk.
yeah. Some people put in their mac and cheese, different varieties of things. So I don't use goat milk in my mac and cheese, but yeah, it's pretty good. But yeah, it'll work for kids. It work for babies too. I would I would encourage more breastfeeding more because I mean I just think it's better for the baby. The more women breastfeed and use some women use formula as a bag up as well. So if they can't breastfeed, then they have this Enfamil. I guess they use it now. So yeah, it's. I mean, I don't know about what these new mothers are doing outside what my daughter-in-law did. So, but I I feel bad for all the single moms that have to go through this process by themselves, and they're trying to
Yeah,
breastfeed. So there is a shortage of milk, and that makes it harder. Um, I hate to see so many of us even have kids without a husband and stuff, but hey, there's a new generation. They do things differently and everything. Now, as far as the meat shortage, I don't eat meat, so I didn't know it was a meat shortage. I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah. I was actually there was an article where a young lady on Twitter, a journalist, she was saying nobody is talking about the meat plants that have just magically burnt down around the United States. And so I was wondering because I went to Mississippi for to go to the casino with some friends in 2021, and when I went to Walmart, there was no meat in the stores, and
Wow.
I was like, "Hold on, there's meat in the store in Huntsville.
Right.
What's going on here?"
Mm-hmm. I did not know that. I did
Yeah,
not know that.
it was shocking to me, and so to hear that on Twitter about that, I said, I'm wondering, are they purposely trying to starve out Americans?
It might be Peter trying to take out all the meat.
We're gonna get y'all gonna eat vegetarian and drive
Oh,
Teslas.
uh-huh. Oh, I oh, they get that back up and running and stuff because people need meat. People want their protein, the animal protein and stuff. So, yeah, I didn't know there was a meat shortage. That's crazy.
I've got two
But
daughters, and so this is why this kind of concerned me because um, I didn't know some of these things that were going on or these things that happened with women's bodies. And I saw a post where some young ladies on Facebook had said, "I see men making jokes about this Enfamil in our breast. Y'all need to lay off of joking on us because it sounded like y'all want to wear a dress." And I told the ladies, I said, "Ladies, instead of getting angry about these guys making jokes, go in the comments and educate them because you
mhm,
got to realize not every boy or man is taught about this. That
yeah.
we don't know, and
Mhm.
so they're gonna make fun of it because ladies poke fun at guys. You know what I'm saying about our appendages and how big or small they may be.
Yeah, it's that double standard thing. You know what I mean? Like, seem like more and more, um, unfortunately, more and more women are starting to take offense with the smallest little thing. Like it's becoming a little annoying, but
Yeah,
the women.
yeah. My thing is today we have to educate each other on stuff, especially the Black community, because
Mhm,
um, we have to grow that next generation. And if we're growing people that are not educated, are not trying to educate themselves, and at least not even talking to each other because we're basing it off culture wars or cancel culture or whatever you want to call it.
mhm,
That stops our growth in the community. And so I say, hey, I want to be one of the first men to actually start this conversation so that
right,
other women can have a story to tell so they can tell their stories and so men can kind of have a little empathy about it so that way other women can explain to men and tell men what's going on with their bodies so that we can understand and be able to not make light of it.
right. And diet plays a big role in that as well too, as far as a woman being able to produce milk. So eating a healthier diet definitely plays probably the biggest role in being able to produce milk. So maybe you can make her a nice salad or something. Make sure she eat healthy if you ever had to, go through that process with a woman, or maybe your daughters may need your help or something. When they get older. How old are they now? They little.
So I got my youngest is 21 and my
Okay.
oldest is 24, 25, and they are both about to have um, a child. One's going to be due in June. I mean July, and the other one's going to be due in September. And so, and don't quote me on that because they're gonna get mad at me and say, "Daddy, you're wrong." So look, you two, don't y'all get mad at me because daddy brain don't work all the time because all the stuff I did when I was a kid. um, but yeah, I want to make sure that I inform myself as a black man because I
Mhm.
have daughters, and so
Mhm.
I don't want to offend my daughters. I don't want
Right.
them thinking that, hey, I'm making light jokes of their situation, and if they go through that, I don't want
Mhm.
them to feel a certain way about me as a father
Mhm.
being unknown to this situation and taking
Mhm.
light of.
Well, yeah.
So
Hopefully,
so
right. Congratulations to you becoming a grandfather.
oh, this will be the four. These two will make it four.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm getting.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So I'm ready. I'm happy. I'm ready to see. And they're both boys, so I'm even more so happy that
oh.
they're gonna be some little rambunctious, so I can take them out fishing and everything.
I can't get away from boys. I have four sons, and then I have two grandbabies, two grandsons. The only women I have is my daughter-in-laws. They keep me grounded because
Oh,
bonus daughter. I'm like, boy, all that testosterone running around here, and it's a lot of work. Then I got
hey,
two
boys will
grandsons.
protect you though. Boys will protect their mamas.
Yeah, well, no, I need them to stay where they at. I'll be fine.
No, no.
Stay over there with your
All right,
wives.
so I'm real quick. I'm gonna tell everybody again. So for the viewers that's out there, the link is in the description. If you're coming to the live and you're new and you want to tell your story, ladies, if you're out there, fellas, if you want to, kind of tell, what your experience was with, your baby mother or your wife and how that affected you or what you didn't know and what you needed to learn, fellas, click that link. It's the StreamYard link that I put below in the YouTube comments. I don't know if it's gotten in the Facebook comments, but if you go to YouTube and go to Black Knights Talk Podcast, you'll be able to join in the conversation. And I'll add you to the room and we'll put you right here. You don't have to use video at all. You can just do voice, but we'll be able to hear you and be able to let you tell your story. We just want you to tell your name and we'll let you go and you can kind of share your story. So
Now,
real quick,
go ahead.
Arissa, so you're
Mhm.
vegetarian, right?
I
So let
am.
me ask you a question. What
Mhm.
kind of foods do you think are good and healthy for mothers to eat to produce proper milking and to make sure that their body's all healthy so that the baby can get their food on time?
Well, you definitely want to eat as much plant-based as possible.
Okay.
But I know others, I know a lot of doctors, they basically recommend mothers to eat meat, to eat the red meat and stuff, because you still need your protein and your B12 and things like that. I know of one
Okay.
person who's raw vegan. She's been vegan 25 years, and even with her two kids, she stayed vegan. She didn't even eat meat, and she did fine. But yeah, you want to make sure that you're definitely getting mainly plant based. You want to make sure you're getting your green leafy vegetables. You're getting your water in there. You want to stay away from a lot of fried foods and greasy foods and stuff like that. You want to um, so your body can produce that milk, for a good period of time. Because I noticed some women, it seems like they dry up so fast. Like within 6 months or a year, their milk is dried up. But yeah, I would definitely say stay on a plant-based diet. Eat your beans, eat your green leafy vegetables. You know, um, dairy is good too if you eat it in moderation anyway. But definitely, and then eat you some red meat if you're a meat eater. Eat your red meat, so that way you can have the protein in your body and stuff like that. Yeah, definitely, mainly plant-based
So,
though.
so can these guys? Okay, let me ask you a question because I'm always wanting to help, and sometimes us guys we want to help, but we get in
Mhm.
trouble. So, is there any massages or anything that a guy can do to help her out, or I mean, anything to do to just make her a little bit more comfortable to decrease her stress so that she can uh, produce properly, and even with the timing of them in the feeding process, what can guys do? outside of just feeding the baby and more? What can we do to add on to help her out?
Um, it that probably depends on the woman. Be honest with you, but I would say just make sure you're helping out with the baby more, because I don't know. Sometimes we get agitated with stuff like that. We don't even want the help, but I would definitely say just continue to help out with the baby as much as you can, and I mean, if there's anything around the house that you can do, to anything to help relieve her stress, because women can get stressed, especially raising little babies.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
they sleep 30 minutes at night, and then they up, and then she got to get up with the baby. That'll put stress and make you agitated, and then especially if she got to work. Oh, that'll make her
yeah.
yeah. Even that'll help. Being up with the
Okay.
baby at night, extra sleep and stuff. I know my son would do that. Especially with him, with his profession being a PA or whatever, he would still assist her, get up in the middle of the night with the baby and stuff. But you gotta have a flexible work schedule with that. But yeah, all that stuff, it takes a lot of work raising them babies. So I'm sure your daughters and stuff. So did they breastfeed with their two babies, the other babies?
So I don't know about my oldest daughter. I don't know what she did with her babies. Um,
Okay.
I remember we used for my son when I had my son. We used Enfamil, and his mom had some issues with breastfeeding, and so I had to go buy Enfamil, learn to mix this stuff, because a lot of guys, like I said, don't know these things, and a lot of times, and I'll tell ladies out there. Um, Teach men how to make milk
Hmm.
out of the infant meal. Teach them what the measurements are. Some of
Hmm.
these things seem so minuscule, but we don't know as men. We really have no clue. And I
No.
understand the fight or flight in women when it comes to men actually, especially if they're not married.
Hmm.
When it comes to men actually fixing the foods and actually making them feel comfortable enough to feel like, okay, dad got it.
Hmm. Yeah.
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 So I think we should start sharing these stories more and more, so that we can educate each other. Because like I said, I was behind on the wheel on that today. They was telling me about one young lady. She was like, even um, diseases that women go through, or women being sick, stops them from producing, or some of their ducts will dry up. And so I was
Yeah.
like, this happens. And she's like, yeah, you guys don't understand that it's not that easy for
Hmm.
every woman. And I had one young lady, she said, I just couldn't produce.
Yeah.
Or the other young lady was telling me about the fact that latching on. I know nothing about latching on, how that works. So I think that we should educate each other on that,
Hmm.
without looking at each other like, you need to stay in your place. No, we need to talk to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is, they definitely need a lot of support while she's going through that process. Because it can be stressful and everything. Like I say, I tried it for a couple days. My oldest son, he wouldn't latch on. He just sat there and cried. I said, "This baby gonna starve to death. Got to give him some some Similac." So he just would not do it for nothing in the world. And I'm not big chested either, so I was like, "Poor thing gonna starve to death anyway." But but yeah, it's just a lot of it's definitely a process, and just be supportive. For the first, I think, 6 months to a year, where most women breastfeed their babies. So, you know, absolutely, like I said, it's a beautiful thing, and I love seeing men help out with their wives and things like that. So just be supportive, maybe help out around the house. Um, Definitely in the middle of the night with that baby. Um, are you gonna be watching? You're gonna be around your grandbabies. Maybe you can help your daughter-in-laws or something like that. Or
So my oldest daughter lives in Florida. My youngest lives in North Carolina. So that saves dad, granddad from the first few years. When they can walk, I'll let them come over here and hang out with me. But yeah, I'm a little older now, so my patience are not as good as they were when I was younger.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Well,
but to be honest, if I was there with my daughters, I would make sure they were all.
nice. Yeah. Yeah, no, my grandbabies live in Detroit, but I will I'm keeping them next month for 2 weeks while two of my sons taking their wives to out to Mexico. So I have the pleasure to keep a 7-year old and a 1.5 year old. I'm like a 50-year old with a 7-year old for and a 1 year old for 2 weeks. This should be fun.
Oh, you're gonna be pulling your hair out. Yeah,
Uh-huh,
and
uh-huh.
all that energy in your house for the first time in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Gonna be something else, but they need the break. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do it by the grace of God. So
Hey, well, that works. That works. That works. Look, Arissa, I know you told me you got to go to work in the morning, so I'm not going to keep you up all night on this live. I thank you for coming out and actually having this conversation with me.
yeah.
And so I tell you what, look, we're going to have more conversations like this because, like I said, I think that the problem with in the community, and I've
Mhm,
said this with other friends of mine. It used to be grandmothers and aunties used to sit on the porch and watch the kids in the street, and it didn't matter whose child it was. You know,
mhm,
they would watch them and tell them, hey, you can't, you better stop doing that, or I'm gonna take you home to your mama. And we
mhm,
don't have that anymore. And so the reason why I really wanted you out there, because I feel like, we need to start connecting the elders again to the youngsters because
mhm.
the youngsters, this new generation, they don't have that direction that Generation X like myself had. I
No.
remember you get your tail whooped by everybody, and then they'll take
Mhm.
you home to your mom and daddy. Your mom and daddy whoop your tail.
And it was
So,
more family involvement too, just raising babies, like you were saying, with the breastfeeding process. Usually big mama was around to help out with the baby.
mm-hmm,
We had more family involvement. Now everybody's so separated. Marriage is on a decline. You got a lot of single moms trying to go through this process by themselves. Mama
mm-hmm,
got still Grandmama still gotta work, so she can't help out as much. That's within our culture. Now other cultures, now they parents will move in for 2, 3, 4 months and help out, because
yep,
they know they family, it takes a village, and I would like to see more of that. That's why I try to help out. I even to ask my daughter-in-law, I said, I said, you need me to come up there, fly to Detroit and help you out, just let me know. 'Cause, there are some stressful times and stuff, her being a mom, but even though my son worked and she's at home, it's still two little kids, especially my grandsons. I'm like, and I offer to go up there and help out, to give her a break
yeah,
and stuff. So, we need that family involvement, and we don't have that anymore. And it's really, is not helping the younger generation. Like, families is so important. Life is all about, it really is all about relationships. It's about
yeah,
relationships, family, um, choices and consequences. It truly have choices and trade-offs. It truly is. And we can get back to
yeah,
families. That's why I would I would be in my grandchildren's life. If I need to fly up there and stay a month, I would do it, because family is important. So we need to get that back as well, because that helps what you said with the child rearing process. And it seemed like, the success of a child when they have, the mother won't be so stressed out with these babies if her mother was able to come in and help her out for a few months and move in with them while the dad go out here and work.
yep.
So we just got to do some changes. Hope we can help one person now, that'll be good, anybody.
And
So
that's the only job that I want to do. I don't care if I don't get a hundred people listening to me, as long as I
mhm,
can be able to help somebody out. If it's just
yeah,
one person, if it's just two people, that's fine. Because here's the deal: we can't help everybody. Everybody don't want your help. Everybody don't
that's right.
need your help. So
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be an advocate for those who don't want that type of help. I'm trying to be an
Mhm,
advocate for women and men who want to learn through talking to each other, through communicating, and actually taking the time out to sit and talk to the older generation, and find out what
Right.
they went through, and help them connect the two together, so that we can be a family again and raise good quality kids. You know, kids that
Mm-hmm.
understand who they are. You know,
Mm-hmm.
even like teaching children their history, proper
Yeah.
history, not just going in a history book and learning, but family history. Because a lot of us,
Mhm.
you know, we meet cousins and relatives that we don't know because there's no family structure anymore.
Yeah.
So, like my dad used to tell me, he said, you know, what's in the blood gonna come at you. Whatever
Mm-hmm.
I did as a father, that's gonna come at you as a son. And so he
Yeah.
used to always tell me, he's like, yo, son, you know, ask questions, ask what they family, who they name is, you know,
Mm-hmm.
ask questions, because you don't know, that could be your long lost cousin you sleeping with.
Seriously. You know where them kids come out a little funny. Yeah. Yeah, you do. It's just communication. And it surprises me that even some of my elders that's in their 70s and 80s, some of them don't even know the basics, like which African descent they are. I had to do my DNA to really to find out that I'm, you know, part Nigerian, which most Americans are because of the slave trade. But
Yeah,
got 53% Nigerian, then all this European and Indian blood that my grandmother said we had. Some black folks be like, we got Indian in our blood. So she was right this time. Um, so just learning our total history so that we can teach our kids as well. And a lot of us, we don't even know that part. So
yeah,
to really teach, and we don't have the proper education about history to teach our kids, so we got to learn as well so we can
yeah,
teach our children about their history, because it's so important. It's very, very important. Like you said, beyond the school books, they teach you the basics, the Martin Luther Kings and stuff, but there's other people in our
yeah.
history that we need to know about. That's why I like historic cities like Atlanta, like Detroit, that have a lot of black history to it, because I think it's so important for our culture.
I'm reading a book now, right now, called the 1619 Project. And so I'm learning a bunch of stuff in there. When I was a young kid, my aunt was very fervent on us learning who we were, Black history, who the creators and the inventors in Black history, and she wanted us to. I mean, we could go out and have fun. My aunt would take us to the library and make us read books, and so I find it, even at 44 years old now, I'm more comfortable now sitting at home and reading these books and finding out all this new information that I never knew before, and it's actually fun. And so I think we have to start teaching, or encouraging each other to read, you, even if you can't read, use audiobooks.
Yeah.
Because once you start to read, you kind of picture these stories in your head, and you create the movie of what went down during that time. And so
Mhm.
those pictures and those movies you put in your head from the books, they actually create empathy in your heart, and you start to understand. This is why I do this, or this is why our community is like this. Um,
Yeah.
and then communicating with the elders and finding out. I hear all the time. I hear all the time. Young ladies say the reason why grandma and grandpa stayed together because of DMV, DV, domestic
Mhm.
violence. And
Mhm.
so I always tell them, I said, I have aunties that lived back during that time. And my aunt's been married for 62 years. And I tell them, I said, man, that's a slap in the face to your grandfather and to your grandmothers. Because if you look at the old pictures, they were dressed in suits and dresses. And I mean, they
Mhm.
were inventing stuff, and they had the civil rights going. So I'm like,
Mhm.
that could not have been the main squeeze of why we stayed together, why 80% of Black families were together prior to 1969.
It's the mentality, because we got to understand. I have to try to teach some of the younger ones whenever I'm around them. all this DV or domestic violence they talk about, only a small fraction of men that were doing that. You know,
Yeah.
even now, small fraction of they highlight the women that are abused by these men and stuff. It's a small fraction of those men that do it. Um, Even when it comes down to doing things that they
Great.
shouldn't be doing to younger women and stuff. It's a small fraction of men that do that. I had uncles, they never put their hand on me in that way. My mother had
Yeah.
boyfriends, outside of my sister's father, they tried me one time, but my mother, they never tried me like that. I have one picture with one guy my mom dated for a while. He was like my father. We took family picture together and everything. So that's a small fraction of men that do that. But like I say, we highlight it and it puts that fear in us and
Mhm.
and stuff like that. So it's like we gotta get that back. We gotta get that back because they don't want to listen to a divorcee, so they say. But then you go and then they say they want to listen to somebody that's been married 50, 60 years. No, you
Mhm.
don't. Because, they don't want to hear the word submissive. And they don't want to
Mm.
hear that, you know, uh, Johnny, Betty got mad at Johnny, but Betty still cooked his dinner. You know what I mean? Betty still,
Yeah.
cooked and cleaned and took care of the kids and stuff. She did it out of love. That's what I always hear from my elders when I ask them something, especially about cooking. They be like, they just
Yeah, 'cause
cook
my
with
aunt
love.
still does that to this day. My uncle
Mm-hmm.
Emmett has Parkinson's, and
Mm.
to this day, she's like, "All right, get up, old man, so I can feed you." And he
Mm-hmm.
was like, "I'm getting up," because he's been making jokes since we were kids, and he'll
Mm-hmm.
make a joke with her. You ain't poisoned me, did you? You ain't put nothing in there, and we'll fall out laughing, and he'll make a face behind her when she get ready to
Uh-huh.
walk out the room, and
Mm-hmm.
um, I sat down with her one day, and I told her, I said, Auntie, I said, why do you do this? And she told me, she said, because that man in there is the priest of my house, and he's
Mm-hmm.
the head of the house. She
Mm-hmm.
said, we went through stuff when we were younger, just like anybody else. She said, I
Oh
used to
yeah.
holler at him and scream at him, and we
Uh-huh.
got into tiffs and fights, but we love each other. And we weren't
Mm-hmm.
going nowhere because we understood we need each other. And
Mm-hmm.
she's like, that's my king, that's my man. And I love it because she has this little, I mean, she is the epitome of the wife, the
Mm-hmm.
perfect wife for a man, because she had, I mean, when she goes in the kitchen, she puts her little what do you call it, the little
Little
what do you
apron.
call it, apron. She puts her little
Uh-huh.
apron on, and she goes in there, and I mean, she cuts avocados and all kinds of fruit. She sets
Mm-hmm.
a fruit cup there, and I mean, she treats him just like she would her child,
That's right.
and the love, that the protection that this guy has for her. He might have Parkinson's, but he ain't forgetting when men come in that house. What he do? He'll come walk his tail out the room and go look what he doing here.
Mm-hmm.
So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, I was like, dang man, I see that type of love, and that's the type of love that I would one day want to have with my wife. To be able to say, hey, my wife is serves me, and I'm gonna go out here every day and bust
Mm-hmm.
my tail, because when I hear the those saying that, hey, the only reason why they stayed together because they were afraid to leave. I feel that it's a disservice to the community and to the ones that
Mm-hmm.
came before us. But not only that, for me as a young black man, it makes me feel like, well, dang, are you saying that I'm gonna do that to you too? I never hit a woman in my life, and the fact
Right.
that I would hear somebody say, hey, this is the reason why those women stayed. I'm like, no, that can't be. That can't be. That the majority of people were not like that back then. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't get that. But I love seeing her. Uh-oh, hold on, real quick. Hey guys, don't
Okay.
get me. That's my food. Take care of it. Oh, thank you so much. Come on, come on. Thank you. All right, I'm coming back now. Sorry about that.
You're
I had to get
fine.
my Uber. This is my little buddy here that's making all the dumb noise.
Oh, he's so cute. But
Yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah, I
go ahead,
hear
go ahead.
you. No, I was gonna say that, who don't want that type of relationship and love? You know what I mean? Like I saw, like that's all I really knew outside my mom. My mom was a baby mama. But my grandmother was married. Well, she was married to my grandfather, but she did divorce him, but she remarried not long afterwards, and she stayed married until he passed away of cancer.
Mm-hmm.
My uncle married, my mom's brother was married for 35 years before his wife died of cancer. My other uncle, he passed away type 1 diabetes. He was 39, but he was married. All my granddad's brothers and so all everybody was married. That's all I'm used to. So, although I started out young, I did have a baby at 15, but I knew by this, I said, I'm not doing this again by myself. I said, if I get pregnant again, I'm marrying that father. And we did, and that's exactly what happened, because that's all I know. That's all I know is marriage. And even, although I'm divorced, but I was been in a long-term relationship for about 13 years, and we parted ways in 2020. But that's all I know is like stability in relationships. I don't know all the different go this guy, that guy. I'd rather just be single if I'm gonna go through all that. My ex-in-laws, they were married for 57 years before my ex-mother-in-law died in 2019. They've been together since they were teenagers. My
Oh man.
ex-partner, my ex-partner of 12 years, his parents they just celebrated their 56 year. They've been together since they were like 13, 14, 5 kids together. Look, build, and that's what I wanted for my sons. Build a family, get you a wife that you can build with. It's nothing out
Mm-hmm.
here messing around with this woman and that woman and that woman. You are gonna waste your life away, and that stuff gonna get old. You'll be stressed out. Find you
Yeah,
one
yeah,
woman that you can build with. You know what I mean? And if you go through hard times, I get it. Every relationship go through hard times, and a lot of the younger generation, they don't want to go through the hard times. They think everything is
yeah,
just going to be so dandy, and he gonna come home and feed me flowers. No, sometimes a man want to come home, he want to go straight to bed because he tired. Sometimes you want to come home, you want to go straight to bed because you tired. What happens when you get into an argument? How can you resolve it without um going any further where you're fighting, fist fighting
yeah.
or getting a divorce? You got to go through all that. One of my sons has been with his high school. He's been with his high school sweetheart for 12 years. They've been married for 5.
Mm-hmm.
The oldest son, his wife for 9 years. They've been married for only 3, and then my other son's engaged. He's been with her for 5 years. You know, find you one person that you can build with. You know, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's a
I
beautiful
mean, and
thing.
I ask all the time, and this is why, Arissa, me and you are gonna be best buddies because I'm gonna have you on the show a lot. Because um, I take cues from the older generation.
Hmm.
Because I
Hmm.
saw the service that men had. My grandfather was a
Hmm.
man's man. Okay, he didn't play no games, and he didn't play the radio either. Uh,
Hmm.
he had a garden. He would wake us boys up at 5 a.m. in the morning. And when I stayed with him in the summertime, and he'd come on out to this garden and help pick these peas. And we'll
Hmm.
get our little buckets and we'll go and he'll show us how to pick them and how to split them and everything. And he'd tell us,
Hmm.
come and wash them. He'd teach us while he was doing that. He would tell us, this is the way you gonna feed your family. You got to get up
Hmm.
early. Any man that
Yeah,
sleeps past a certain time, he ain't no man and he ain't putting nothing in the house. So you
that's
got to
right.
get your tail up early and get out there and work in this garden. And I liked it
Yeah.
because my grandfather made us work with our hands.
Hmm.
And we as boys, when we were kids, we liked it. After we
Hmm.
got used to it, because we didn't like getting up that early. But my
Hmm.
grandmother, while he was out with us, she would go in the
Hmm.
kitchen and fix us this big old breakfast. And so by
Hmm.
the time 7:30 came around, she called us all in. My cousins, come on in. and we'll
Mm-hmm.
go in there and sit down, and she got biscuits and eggs and bacon and hash browns. I mean, you name it, it's a
Mm-hmm.
smorgasbord. I mean, we had
Mm-hmm.
jams and homemade jams and figs and all kinds of stuff. And I'm watching that deplete and leave from our culture, and they're not doing it anymore. Now it's all fast food, and ain't nobody cooking. The guys know how to cook better, and the
Mm-hmm.
ladies they got YouTube and won't even learn on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
And it,
I
yeah.
love these conversations. I wish that some of the ladies that was in here tonight had came in and joined the live, but the
Mm-hmm.
conversation had needed to be had.
Oh yeah, we gotta have this conversation because look, other cultures are doing it. Other
Yeah.
cultures do it. I'm around them all the time, especially when I have my days where I get out here and drive ride share and I meet these Indian cultures and stuff. They do it all the time. They are all about family. You better
Hmm.
believe that. I
I
just
got an
talked to
Indian homeboy. And his
his I
mom and
got.
daddy don't play the radio. They still together. And he
Mm-hmm.
told me, he said, his mother. I remember when his name is Francis, and me and
Mm-hmm.
Francis have been friends since he's from Bangladesh, and so me and
Mm-hmm.
Francis have been friends since we were kids. And even
Okay.
today, when I call him, his mother still always asks, "Are we okay? What's
Mm-hmm.
going on?" And I watched how his mother served his father, and
Mm-hmm.
she made sure that they ate, and she would be almost the last one coming in to eat, and she'd make sure the whole entire family of her kids friends would always eat, and she just smiled. And
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, what I think would be that makes me proud to see a grandmother is to watch all the children that came out of her and through her.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, that's not. I'm not proud to see a CEO female. That's
Yeah.
nothing, because that's gonna leave. If
Yeah.
anything happens to that business, guess what? You're not a CEO anymore. You know,
Yeah.
you were a CEO,
Yeah.
but you can't take being a grandmother away.
We're all about, I know our culture, we're all about, it's so materialistic now. It's
Mm-hmm.
so material. But I'm gonna tell you, I know people who do well and look, they don't have husbands, they don't have kids, and that's something that they want. But you
Mm-hmm.
get to a certain status, especially as women, it's gonna you either gonna have to get you somebody to make less, and that's just a fact. You ain't gonna find nobody to
Mm-hmm.
make more than you. It's just not. It's just that's just not mathematically possible. But family is so important. Right before Steve Jobs passed away, the CEO of Apple,
Mm-hmm.
um, he made a statement where he basically was saying he worked all these years to become this person, this owner, this great person that he is, as far as financially. Uh, at the end of his life, he was dying of pancreatic cancer. He was like, it meant nothing. All this material stuff, it doesn't mean anything.
Yep.
It means, Denzel said it best. I heard, I'm not sure if it's KS said it before he passed, but he was like, there was something with Denzel, and he said, "Have you ever seen a hearse follow a U-Haul follow a hearse to the cemetery? You're not taking the stuff with you. The
Yep.
most beautiful thing is to prioritize family. I love seeing the stuff that I have from my grandmother that she personally gave me. Those things mean so much to me. I'm like this little bitty old tiny fake plastic squirrel. My grandmother just thought it was the best gift in the world. I cherish that because I'm like, it's from my grandmother. The scarves that she knitted, or crochet. They sit there and crochet that stuff. I love that stuff. Stuff from my mother. I still have her jewelry. She's passed on. You know, that's family. That's legacy. That's the best thing you can have. And that's why I told my son, I said, I love seeing your little mini me's. I love seeing what his kids look like. I'm like, Lord, they bad just like they did.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, because
I don't care about,
you
yes.
remember the nostalgia of when you had him. And
Mm-hmm.
now you're seeing the next generation and the same character traits that were in him as a baby. You get to see it
Mm-hmm.
all over again. But this time you get
Yes.
to give them back.
Yeah, exactly. Go home. And I love that. And the thing is prioritized, and I see this out of other cultures too. They go get their education too, but they prioritize their families. They
Mhm.
prioritize a family to miss. I see it all the time driving around there. I've seen it where a mother and daughter, they're celebrating their daughter's graduation from college. She already got her husband set up, who they about to marry, where they about to live. They have all this stuff set up. And
Mhm.
they go get law degrees and all that stuff too. But I tell you, they know who they gonna marry, what area of the house they gonna live in, when they gonna start planning for kids. They prioritize family. We don't. We don't.
I do. I'll tell you real quick, real quick. I didn't meet, I didn't really have a relationship with my dad until I was
Mhm,
like 36, 37, somewhere around there, because my little brother passed away. And so this
mm,
was the first time me ever coming to, since I was like 7 years old. This was the first time
mhm,
me ever coming back to my dad's property in
mhm,
Louisiana. And I noticed the first thing I did, I took my son with me and I stopped at a Dollar General in the town. And the lady at the cashier said, "You Jackie Long's boy, ain't you?" I'm like, "Lady,
mhm.
who the hell are you? How you know?" She said, "You look
Uh-huh.
just like you." And it's a
Wow.
small town and it's a community that is very close knit. But
Mhm,
even me, I didn't realize that these people have been around each other so long that they can tell whose kids are whose just by looking at you. And so
mhm.
I got to meet my aunties that I never met before and the elders. And we still have family reunions. We're going to have one this year. And they always, I mean, we have group chats. My family has group chats
Mhm.
with the older and the younger coming together. We have group chats, Zooms, and we all just sit and love on each other and
Yeah.
talk about next time we get together, we gonna do this barbecue and
Mhm.
we who gonna so even right now, my aunties are like, "Okay, Derek, I see you on Facebook cooking all that food. I hope you bring your A game to the family reunion." And
Uh-huh.
I don't think young people understand how cohesive that is, and
Mhm.
um how strong that bond of
Mhm.
family creates your character
Oh,
because
it does.
you start to understand you're loved by somebody, you're cradled by your family. And we are one of the only Black families in Louisiana that own over 400 plus acres of land. And so
Wow.
when I'm looking at that, because my father he always tells me, be careful of who you marry or who you bring home, because something happens to you, she's in charge, and she could
Right.
take the family property and sell it, or try to
Mhm.
demise it. And so
Yeah.
that's why I love family, because all these years I never got to, stay with my dad, meet and be around my dad. But man, once we got together, I started seeing characteristics about myself and my brothers and my sisters. And I mean, we
Mhm.
all get together and my little brother, he just got married. And so
Oh,
we just rented
correct.
this big old house, this old school
Mhm.
what do you call it? Plantation home. And
Mhm.
I mean, it's big. It had about 9 bedrooms in there. And we
Wow.
got together and we acted like kids. We're 40 plus, 30s and 40s and 50s.
Mhm.
And everybody, all the grown folks are acting like children. And I saw that
Mhm.
and I was like, this is why I'm a jokester. This is why, I'm quiet at times. And so you start
Oh,
to see
yeah.
characteristics about yourself in your family. And kids need
Yeah.
to understand, because that's the other circle of who they are.
Yeah.
But
It's so much dysfunction. I wish we could get back together and just get focused and um, just bring back families. And I love seeing that. Like we made my sons, we were talking about doing. I know right before COVID hit, we all got this big Airbnb that came down here to Atlanta. We got this Airbnb, it had like 5 bedrooms, and we just had a big family day. We cooked, we drank, we laughed, we played cards. We had such a good time. It was my sons, their wives, my sister's kid, well, with my nephew, my grandbaby, only had one at the time. And we had such a wonderful time, just family. I loved it. We had a good traditional time. We're gonna do it again. I'm craving for that. I love family. I do because my mom is gone and my brother is gone, and I know
Yeah.
that um you know they you can't get that back. You
No, you
cannot
can't.
get that back. You know.
I tell people
Yeah.
all the time, once an elderly dies, a library
Mhm.
dies. And
Mhm.
you can't get the
Mhm.
information anymore. That information is gone forever. Whatever. It's
Mhm.
like my auntie, my aunt Frank. She passed away. Aunt Frank knew everything in the family.
Mhm.
She was the eldest, the oldest out of in the family, and she understood everything. She would tell us stories. Even in the family reunion, I had just got there, and Aunt Frank, she was quick to tell you, back in the day, look, we didn't do this, and we did this. And I'm watching my son listen to her, and he's intrigued.
Mhm.
He wants to hear those stories. And so I think we have to get this back together, or else we lose in the community as a whole. And I mean, even looking at what the incident that just happened in Buffalo, if we don't
Oh,
get families back together, we cannot protect our communities.
oh, yes. I heard about that. I heard about that. That's so sad. That's
Yeah,
so sad.
it's crazy, man. Because we're noticing these trends more and more and more.
Mhm. Yep, we are. And we gotta get back together. I don't know what it's gonna take. I'm not gonna lie. It's a tough road. I've been called enough names by somebody. You can't tell some of them something anything anyway because they're gonna call you old lady. You almost 60. Oh, like Lord, you can't tell them nothing. Oh, where does lack of communication come from? One person told me that today. I just, girl, bye. Okay.
You got
No
to
sense of
ignore, and
arguing.
that's why I tell people ignore those people, because ignorance is bliss until
Hmm.
you need that information and you don't have it, and it's detrimental, or your life depends on it.
Hmm.
I would say this: I want to have more of these conversations with you, Ms. Michelle, because at the end of the day, like I said, I want to save at least one person. I want to
That's
save
right.
at least one couple, one marriage
Hmm.
at a time. We can't save everybody. We got to understand that
Right.
everybody's not going to listen. Everybody's not going to pay attention. Everybody don't want to hear that. Some
That's
people don't
right.
even want family. I've
Right.
had females tell me, I don't want to get married, so it don't matter to me. So I'm like, okay, cool. I ain't talking to you because
Hmm.
this story is not for you. And I think a lot of times in the community, we put too much interest in trying to force
Yeah.
our belief system on others.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try to force anybody.
Hmm.
If you want a family, you're going to have to listen to how to get a family and how to keep one.
Oh yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
I thank you so
Absolutely.
much for coming on.
Thank you so much. Great conversation. Can't wait to speak to you again.
Hey, we gonna do it again, okay? We're gonna do it again. Hopefully, because I'm learning the StreamYard. I don't know how it
Okay.
works for real. For real, I just found out about it the other day, and so I'm
Okay.
still working. Even with my channel, I did. I've been working on my podcast last summer, and
Okay.
I had I was really stuck in I'm gonna fix this and I'm gonna show them and I'm gonna tell them and they got to listen. And then I had to learn from listening to other women's stories that were coming in my inbox and saying, Derek, look, I understand how you feel, but
Hmm.
you got to understand women's traumas that they've had in their lives with their mothers, with their fathers not being around, you know, a bunch of situations. So I want you to come at it with a little bit more empathy, or else they're not going to hear what you're trying to really tell
I heard it best from a friend of mine who is a medical doctor.
them.
Um, that's where self accountability come in there because I've don't get me wrong, I've gone through some things too, but you gotta do the work too. Um,
Yeah.
I I feel like there's more people that want sympathy more than anything instead of doing the work themselves.
The
Um,
victimhood mentality.
yeah, because look, the world don't stop. It's gonna keep on going. It's not fair. The world is not fair. Life is not fair. It's gonna suck you up and spit you out to dry. So either you
Mhm.
can take your situation and be like, I'm gonna overcome it no matter what, and try your best to overcome it, or you could sit there and drown in pity, and because nobody won't pat you on the back, trust me, it's a tough world out here. I have a son with lupus. My youngest son has lupus, and trust me, we've heard some hard things where people call them names, you're crippled and stuff like that. It is tough, and it's from our own people that do that. It's a
Yes,
tough world out here, and it will suck you up. It will suck you up if you let it. So whatever traumas that you're through, definitely seek therapy. That's your first step, and take one day at a time. But just know that the world is not fair, and you got to get through it because it's only going to get worse if you don't.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
So look,
yes,
I'm gonna let you get you some rest because I know you said you got to go to work in the morning. I'm a tattoo
yeah.
artist, so I ain't got to go nowhere in the morning.
I'm right there. I'm right there. I
So I
understand. But
appreciate you. I thank you, and I'm honored that you took the time out of your day to just come on and have a conversation. And that's what I want to be able to do is to bring people together that you would never think. Even my detractors that
Mhm.
want to prove that they're right and they want to challenge it. I want to
Mhm.
allow them to have a voice too because everybody needs to be in this conversation. We
Yeah.
in order for community to get back together, we got to stop telling people that they can't disagree.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
yeah, because what we do is we got a community is of people. If we don't like what you say, we'll cancel them and make sure that we report them and try to shut their pages down. And I'm seeing this everywhere, and I'm like, yo, this is not good because guess what? When you cancel somebody else's rights, this is how you get Roe versus Wade.
Yeah. Yep. And that's
The,
the whole
the
key.
issue that's going on with that.
Yeah. That's gonna be um that's gonna be something else. But I will say, regardless if they keep it or if they overturn it, we have got to know take accountability for our bodies and
Mhm.
who we give access to sex to. That's just especially unprotected. We got to get back to that.
And
That's
let
without.
me ask you a quick question because I know you're an older woman. Let me ask you a quick question because I tell my daughters this all the time. You're responsible for your reproduction. You need to carry
Mhm.
condoms, even if that
Mhm.
boy doesn't have condoms. Because I hear this argument all the time. Well, that boy he did it, and I'm like, well, you can't have a child unless you allow him to go inside you without protection. And this ideal that we keep allowing our daughters and our sisters and our moms and to have this excuse of he's got to be held accountable for this because he did it to me. But I'm like, no, you allowed him to do that. Nobody can do anything that you don't allow to happen. And these
Yeah.
babies ain't being born out of thin air. So
No.
I want to know from you, how do you feel about women with your body as a woman? Should you protect it or should he be responsible?
You got to be responsible as the woman because you're given access to sex. And
Mm-hmm.
you know that if that man, you see ain't no condom on that thing, make him put one on there. Don't let him convince you that he don't want it, he don't like it, I don't care. No. And if he force himself, we already know he could catch a charge. So,
Mm-hmm.
no, you do have access and control of your body. I know too many women that's in their 40s and 50s and they ain't had a baby yet. So, and I know men they don't have a baby yet. You
Mm-hmm.
can prevent that. You can prevent that. Okay, both can prevent it. If you don't want a baby, you can prevent it. But you also have to teach our kids that whenever you have any type of relations with somebody, I don't care if she on a pill, I don't care if you use a condom, you are prepared to be a parent because stuff happens.
Yeah.
You may have that 1% where it pop, and then that 1% that she get pregnant on the pill. um you're prepared to be a parent whenever you go there. So we gotta teach them responsibility and accountability. um because if not, we're gonna keep playing the blame game. But no, We for no look, you won't touch me unless I see something on that. If especially if you don't want a baby. And then if he put one on and then whatever happened is the pop or whatever and she get pregnant, then yeah, he need to be accountable and
Yep.
responsible.
Yep. I agree.
Period.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Because I don't believe in abandoning no woman because you out there fooling around with her. You need to be
Mhm.
responsible. But then that leaves it back to us as women. When you have a baby by a guy and he turned out not to be accountable, it shouldn't happen 3, 4, 5 times. I'm just saying, by 3, 4, 5 dudes, you
And
got to
I'll tell
know
you
how to
this,
vet.
it is so sad that my son's 23 and he doesn't have any
Hmm.
children. Okay.
Okay.
And it's sad when we look at children like himself and other young ladies at this age and they don't have kids and they be like, what's
Hmm.
wrong with you? Why you ain't got no kids? At 23
Please.
years old. And
Hmm.
because it's such a norm for people to have children, um, that they don't even see it normal for people who don't.
Mm-mm. My oldest son, he's the only one with kids. He was
Mhm.
27 when he had his first child, with his now wife, but he was 27. I did the teenage mom thing. I had all my kids young. I said I had my fourth child by the time I was 21. I was married though, but still I got married at 19. It's still I was young. And I did not want them to go down that road. I'm sorry. You need to wait till you like 30. I really want them to be like 35, but they ain't make it that far. but um, but he only have out of my four sons, my oldest is 34. I have one that's 31, one that's be 30 next month. My youngest is 28. I only have two grandbabies with my oldest sons. Oh, if you don't want kids, you can prevent that. If you truly
Yeah.
don't want no babies, you can prevent that. I'm sorry. You can
Yeah.
as
It's
much as
like
you
I tell my son, stay on your purpose, work and create what you want to create, what you want to see in your life. And then find you a woman that wants
hmm
to see y'all both win together, that's able to
yeah.
work with you, get married,
hmm
have children, and then teach your children what your father taught you.
Yeah. It makes a big difference. And two parent household makes a big difference. I see in my grandson, he's like, "Oh, I got my girlfriend a ring." And I'm like, "What you mean you got a ring?" I told my daughter-in-law, I said, "You got your ring, right?" I'm like, "You ain't take your ring," because he's watching them. He's watching his
Yeah,
daddy.
yeah,
He's watching
yeah,
his mom.
yeah.
So,
They're a
they
little
see that.
copycat.
Absolutely. So I want him to carry on that and know how important it is to chase your purpose first. Don't be out here chasing women. Chase the money. Trust me, women gonna always be there. Don't ever worry about us. We are.
Hey, I wish my son was up right now. He would tell you that is my exact words. I always tell my son, chase your money first. Your money ain't gonna always be there, but women will. And women like men with money. So you
That's a
you
fact.
you chase that money first, get yourself settled and create you a empire, that's
Mm-hmm.
impenetrable. Because
Mm-hmm.
as far as you being a man, you have to be a protector, a provider, and a priest in your household. And like I always tell my son, I'm your second dad. God's your first dad. So
Mm,
when you ever have a problem, you go talk to your first dad and then come talk to me and
that's
we'll work
right.
on things. But if we
That's right.
don't if we don't teach our children that and get back to those grassroots, get back to having these conversations and quit shouting down people that have different opinions. Even when I was talking to a friend today, and I was telling her, I
Mm-hmm.
said the reason why the rise of Kevin Samuels was um, so big is because this is the first time in modern history that black men have actually had a voice to
Yeah.
voice their losses, to voice how they feel about relationships today, to voice how they
Mm-hmm.
were raised by their mothers and abuses or the lack thereof of their mothers. And
Yeah.
you got Terry McMillan and Oprah and all these different women on talk shows that talked about men in the 90s leading up, and it still goes on to this day. And so
Mm-hmm.
you telling me one black man who was articulate, dressed
Mm-hmm.
nice, he might have been brash, but he told
Mm-hmm.
the truth. And I think I said for that, a lot of women had daddy issues, and they
Oh
saw
yeah.
him as a target because just like a father, and I'm a father. I'm not nice when I'm pissed off or when I
Mm-hmm.
feel that something needs to change in you.
Right.
So I tell my daughters, look, I ain't playing it. If you're not gonna respect me, then the conversation is ended, and you
Mm-hmm.
can talk to me when you have respect. But
That's
here it
right.
is, those young ladies that were calling in that show, KS, like I told them, KS would tell them up front, you respect me, I'll respect you. And when it was starting to
Mm-hmm.
go off the rails, yeah, he got a little tizzy, and it would be a little antagonistic and everything. But I would say this: is the truth was there, and they exposed
Yeah.
themselves. Nobody hurt them; they exposed
No.
themselves in that situation. So I'm
No.
like, that's so wrong.
I love this content. I knew exactly what his message was. The things that I couldn't I couldn't hear, I couldn't understand is because I'm not there. Far as
Mhm.
sharing a man and all, because I'm like I don't want no high value man like Aaron's do, so that puts me out of it. Like that's too much. But I understood his message. Um, but the sad thing is I heard this lady, it's not even I heard, this lady responded to me today. I said something about, you guys are more mad at Kevin Samuels, but what about George Zimmerman? This lady responded that Kevin Samuels was worse than George Zimmerman. I said, so a woman that lost her child, her 17-year-old son that was walking to the store to get a bag of Skittles and a Sprite or something like that and come home in a body bag. You mean to tell me that Kevin Samuels is worse than a man using his life? I said, wow, just wow.
Yeah,
That
and that's how the culture is today. I mean, and I made this distinction too. I tell everybody when I have this conversation about it, this is not the first time a black man's death has been celebrated within the
nope.
last month, because there was a boy in Florida who got stabbed by a little white girl and killed, and um, some black girl went to his Twitter back 10 years through his feed and found where he said something about black girls, and it was something disparaging. And this guy was in high school 10 years ago. So I was like, 10 years ago, everybody has a different mind frame when they're young, and they may say something that's stupid and
Oh,
out of order. But you change, we evolve. And
mm-hmm.
so after that one tweet, you never he never wrote anything else. And they took his tweets, screenshot it, clipped it, just like they did KS, clipped it without knowing any information. And I saw
Mm-hmm.
black women after black women said, well, he deserved to die. That ain't our problem. That ain't got nothing to do with it. That's what happens when you leave black women. And I'm like, hold on. So this man deserved to die. So you don't care about his mothers, his sisters, his aunties who
Mm-hmm.
loved him, and they look just like you, but you don't care
Mm-hmm.
about that. It doesn't matter. The issue was not that this boy said anything about black women. The issue was that he dated a white. He dared to date a
Yeah.
white, and so that was the real issue. And I get so sick of this gaslighting of telling men protect all black women at what cost? if you're
Okay.
if you're out there doing things that could potentially harm
Mm-hmm.
another black man who's trying to protect you,
Right.
then no, I'm not going to tell my son go out there and help
Mm,
protect you, and you keep going back to the same drug dealer to keep beating your ass.
exactly. And you know what Kevin Samuel said? You want us to protect you, and we can't even get a fucking smile. Okay.
Man,
No.
yeah, hey man, I experienced that as a older black man. I go in
Mm-hmm.
stores. I remember just last week I had a black brother. We were sitting outside of my shop talking, and he's got his baby in his arm, and he
Mm-hmm.
opens the door for another little black girl to walk through the door, and she don't say thank you.
See
I'm
that.
like, the nerve! This man's holding his child and thought enough of you to be a gentleman to open up the door. And I'm just going to be honest. This generation, and not all these women, but this new
A
generation
lot
of
of.
females have not been taught properly, have not been taught how to treat men, have not been
Mhm.
taught how to reverence men and honor the fact that he's stronger than you.
Yeah.
You need a protector. This ideal that like Mike Tyson said. Mike Tyson always said, you know, everybody, it's easy for you to say what you're gonna do, what you're
Right.
gonna do until you get hit.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what I tell ladies all the time, they always tell me, I can buy a gun. I don't need no man. And I'm like, yeah, but say for instance, you got 3 men you got to deal with that gun, and they got guns. You
Right.
really think you're gonna win that war? And today you got crazy ass boys and men out there because they were raised by crazy ass women out there. And I'm not saying all,
Oh
but you got to realize there's crazies on both sides.
Oh heck yeah. Well, the thing is, and I stand 10 toes down on this one. I think my generation did a crappy job of raising our kids, and I say that because those 30-year-olds, they are the most disrespectful ones out there. 25-year-olds can't even communicate with you. You can't
Mm-hmm.
even have a disagreement with them because they start calling you names. That's why
Mm-hmm.
they go. Of course, I'm pick Misha times 1,000. So, pick Misha, you old, and I'm like, is your mama still alive? And so she gotta be my age. Like, okay.
And I noticed that even in y'all community, women, I've seen it
Mhm.
online. I've gone on YouTube channels. I went to Celebrity, and she was complaining about how women were going trying to shut her page down because she holds them accountable. And so I'm like, yo, hold on. Y'all are attacking this man, but y'all attack each other every day unequivocally
Oh yeah.
with no problem. And
Yep.
I tell them it's not men that's y'all problem, it's other women. And what we
Yeah.
have to do in the community is we have to separate our grandmothers. We can't allow these I call them hyenas. We can't allow these hyenas to
Hmm.
speak for our grandmothers
Right.
to take that kind of credit. Because
Yep.
no, my grandmother was a woman. My grandmother was the epitome of a woman. And I
Absolutely.
respected that. And,
Yeah.
and and here it is, you got these hyenas trying to change the narrative of what a woman is. And this is why you got men changing the narrative on what a woman is.
Yeah.
I just had an argument today, and I want to ask you this question because I told her I was going to get this question out there.
Uh-huh.
So I had an argument with my friend. She's married, and I told her this pedestalization that these women have about calling themselves a queen with no man in tow is ridiculous. It's fake pedestalization based off what? You being a fucking regular adult and adulting and handling your business like regular fucking people. Because I don't hear
Mhm.
men going around calling themselves, I'm the king of this. And I'm like, yo, stop that mess. In
No.
the dictionary, queen is called wife of a king. And so I
Right.
looked at that definition as a unit,
Hmm. Yep.
unity. So you
Yep.
can't be a queen. I've never seen a queen make a baker a king. The
Right.
only way you become a queen is if a king marries you, not the other way around. So
Eh,
I told her, I said, well, if you, she said, well, I can feel like I'm a queen. You can't stop me from feeling like a queen. I said, no, I can't, but that's not, you're not a queen in the
unrealistic.
definition sense.
Hmm.
So here
Yeah.
was my argument. I said, well, if that's the case, if you feel like you're a queen just because you feel like you're a queen, and I won't take that from you, then
Mhm.
a man who feels like he's a woman can be a woman. That's
Right.
not the same. I said, yes,
Mhm.
that's exactly the same because a woman we know has biological markers, her DNA, her womb, everything to tell you that she's a woman. And
Right.
what if you're running around and y'all are changing narratives and definitions to fit
Oh
your
Lord.
narrative, then
Yeah.
you're allowing these people to join into your sports to compete
Oh yeah.
against your daughters.
Hmm. Yeah. I was actually gonna do a video on that queen because I can't stand the word. I just don't. I don't like queen, and I don't like the word when they call you sis. Every now and again, if I know somebody, I may use that sis word, but I don't really like that either.
They
Um.
use that now, that same word, that sis. I saw an
Yeah.
article where they were talking about the trans swimmer, and they
Hmm.
call real women cis women.
Mm-mm. I don't even like all that. I definitely don't like queen because I feel like number one, queens are chosen by kings, and it just we just try to change this narrative about everything. I can't stand it, and it seems like the ones that call you queen be the main ones call you the B word. 30 minutes
So
later,
will,
say
so
something they don't
will.
like. I can't stand the word queen. I said, "Hey, Mike's queen, my black one." I'm like, "Oh God, here she one of those." That's how I look at them. I look at them as being messy. I run from those women. I don't want to hear because I'm like, I've never, it's never failed me. Most of those
Yeah.
women that do that, they be the main ones cussing you out, and
Yeah, it's
I never like.
Queen, I'm a strong, independent. And I tried to explain to her today. Here it is. Y'all are not listening to men. Men keep telling you what they want and what
Yeah.
they don't like.
Hmm.
And you got these shout women try to shout men down and tell men what they gotta like because they are a woman and you gotta hear me roar. Well, here's
Yeah.
the deal. You can call yourself strong, but what that implies to men, and I made this quick comparison. I said, what, ladies, let me ask you something. If I go to a club, okay, you go to a club, you see a man that's fine, he's the man of your dreams, he's tall, he's handsome, and he walks up to you and says, "Oh my God, where'd you get those shoes?" Are you going to be attracted to it?
Right. No.
No, because you want a man. Well, that's
Uh-huh.
the same equivalence of you going telling a man, "I'm a strong, independent woman." Well, what man wants something? Because strong implies that you don't need help.
Hmm.
Strong implies that you can do it all by yourself, and your
Hmm.
services are no longer needed.
Well, see, we're the only culture that do that. I swear. I mean, I'm not saying you may not have an anecdotal case of somebody from another culture using that. I'm a strong independent.
Mhm,
Well, they ain't gonna say I'm a strong independent white woman. They ain't gonna say that. So they may just use this strong independent woman. But rarely do I hear it. I see more rings on their fingers than I do ours, and that's
mhm.
just that.
That's
And
true.
you know, and like I said, I don't like that word queen at all. We got, and that strong independent. That's because you're an adult, okay?
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
doing
yeah.
things what grown folks do, and that's just that goes to me, not caring about associating myself with being a black business owner. I don't like it. I feel like it's just signal like I'm begging for business. Oh, support a black business owner instead of showing that I'm a business owner, showing that
Mhm.
my product works for all, not just black, and
Yes.
and go from there. I've never really cared about uh, s- I'm a black owned business. I'm not doing all that. Just don't. I
Yeah.
support my cousin. My products work for everybody, and money's green.
You're a
So
business. You're a business. I never associate my business. I do tattoos. And I'm like, yo,
mhm,
do you know how much money I would lose if I started saying I'm a black owned business and
yeah,
I'm
hmm,
an American, okay,
hmm,
with a job.
that's
We,
right.
I was just telling somebody, well, my homeboy just told me today, he said, I don't think people understand that racism or racist is not the term for that needs to be used
Mhm.
when addressing bigotry,
Right.
because racist is the control a system that controls the wealth of a race, not the
Hmm.
person. So
Right.
we can't say everybody's racist. No, there's a racist system and
Hmm.
there's bigotry. There's
Hmm.
a difference. So because we don't change that narrative, people are misinformed and they keep repeating it. And the news anchors and the media knows that that is wrong,
Oh
but
yeah.
they report it in that way to incite fear, hate, and
Hmm.
anger.
Hmm.
But
Yep.
look, let us get out of here. I got to get something
Yes.
to eat, and I had a fun
Okay.
time. Look, I want you. I'm gonna hit you in the inbox so we
Okay.
can continue this conversation and set up another show to where we can finish talking about these pedestalation words of
Yes.
queen and
Yes.
independent, and so we can go in a little bit more depth on where these words derive from and
Hmm.
kind of educate other people.
Yeah, that's right. Well, thank you. We sure will. I can't wait to get back on here again. Just let me know when you're ready.
I definitely do that. Thank
Okay.
you so much, and you have a
Thank you.
great night.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Hey guys, thank you so much for coming on and checking it out, even if you just stay for a little while. I know this went a very, very long time, but I really thank you. And I like having these conversations. And so, guys, go out there and support women, and have these conversations with women about these issues. Let's find out how we can help each other out. I originally, I kind of ran off the rails, but um, that's because I started a little late. But let's continue to have these conversations. And if you'll humbly follow me and come and check out these conversations, we want you guys to join in on these streams. Like I said, if you have something you want to say and you want to present your story, let me know, and I'll be glad to have you on and talk and just let you kind of communicate, what your ideas are. Anyway, be good, be blessed. Have a nice one.